Hi,
Hey.
how's it going? How are you doing? We're here today with the Island of Music. My name is Sheena Crowley and I'm absolutely thrilled to have Vicky Keating and Aine O'Gorman with me.
We're thrilled.
How are you doing?
We're thrilled. Yeah.
So we're here because your massive single, the absolute successful single, Poor Ground, its anniversary is coming up next week. Can you tell me about it? How it developed, how it came about?
Well, this all kicked off in kind of March 2017, I suppose. Myself and Áine and Jamie Kelly, our friend, we would go to Áine's house most weeks, Mondays, and write songs together. And it was brilliant because we always came away with a song at the end, you know, really productive. And it was in March 2017 when the news first broke about the discovery of the mass graves in the Tuam, the grounds of the Tuam mother and baby home. And I mean, the numbers just, we couldn't, you know, 798, I think. Mm-hmm. And just the discovery by Catherine Corless, really, I guess, mostly. And then it had to be investigated. And we just wrote this song as a knee-jerk reaction to that, you know. We started writing it that day. And then myself and Áine finished it over the summer and recorded it with Martin Leahy.
And the timing was kind of interesting because then it was it was October of last year when
yes.
they were trying to bury the report, the findings from that report, the report from the mother and baby homes, and they were so I think when we released it last year, it was we made it more of a protest song with what was happening at the time. It's a horrific story like that. You know, it's a brilliant thing to do, to honor it like that. I think it was absolutely beautiful. And tell me, I think when I spoke to you before about it, did one of you say that it was written from a child's perspective? Is that correct? Well, it can be, I guess there's loads of, it could be, there's loads of aspects to it. You know, it could be a child's perspective, or it could be a mother or a partner even. It's I suppose there's so many people were damaged through the abuses in the institution. Children, women, parents, partners. It was
it's a national.
It was so cruel.
Disaster.
It was there was no limits on the cruelty, I guess. And even since then, there have been, you know, all the discoveries in Canada as well, in the institutions there, the Catholic run institutions in Canada, and they have they're beginning their own journey of uncovering babies and children that have been buried. Oh yeah. They discovered that there was something like 200 or 300,000 abuse victims from the Catholic Church in France. It's ongoing, and it doesn't seem to be. There doesn't seem to be any full stop to it.
Exactly, because there's no real acknowledgement of the pain and a sort of concerted effort to make amends to the people who suffered, because we as a nation are carrying this trauma down from one generation to the next, and until there's actual remembering and then grieving, then there can be healing, but not before. We have a huge problem with addiction in this country, which is a symptom of a deeper cause, which is the truth, you know,
and repression,
and you know, being a woman in Catholic society is not fun for anybody.
I suppose when I had the idea that it was from a child's perspective, there was maybe Rowan's writing in the video. That's your son Rowan, Áine, isn't it? Yeah, he was 10, I think, when we did the video. And it took a long time, actually, I'd say. Very into it. He tried to write it and rub it out and start again.
And he's actually left-handed as well. I mean, when you imagine, like my Aunt Helen is left-handed, and she had to write with her hand tied behind her back with her right hand. Good job Rowan is around now, because he would have been forced to
go against his natural ability.
And tendencies.
And did you tell him the story, Áine, if you don't mind me asking? I told him a little bit of it, but without getting lost over it. And I showed him the video, but when it was finished, I showed him, you know, to show what he had done that went into the video. And I think he was a little bit, it was because I guess the video, Martin Lee, he helped, he put it all together for us.
Brilliant.
Which was
with the photos,
the photos and the Rowan's writing. And when it was finished, I showed it to Rowan, and I think he got how dark it was, because it's a pretty heavy video, you know, with all of the Catholic iconography.
Yeah, the remains of everything. Yeah.
And I think, you know, kids are pretty perceptive in that way, and he got the gravity of it without realizing too much of the history behind it too.
And he'd be very artistic anyway, wouldn't he? So he has that's a great way to process things too, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. But I find it incredibly emotional. I told you before that I had to, when I first saw maybe the link shared on Facebook or something, I was going to go, oh no, oh my God, I have to wait, prepare myself before I can actually listen to that, or else I'll be engulfed in tears, you know. Do you still find that if you were to hear it, like, first of all, when you first heard it on the radio, what must have felt like for you?
Oh, amazing.
And emotional too.
Really. Because exactly, because it's so powerful. When Martin first sent us the finished files, I suppose, I mean, I was jumping up and down. And remember, we had recorded it, I think it was September. There was a break in restrictions, and we were lucky enough to be able to get back into the studio tentatively.
Yeah.
When it was back to full restrictions when he sent us the files. So normally when you record something, you can all get together and listen to it coming out of the speakers like some kind of a thundering truck, you know. But I was listening to it on my headphones upstairs. I'll never forget it, listening on the laptop upstairs and just crying and thinking, I'm so proud of this. I'm so proud of this song because of what it says and how powerful it is. And if, as Áine said, you know, a protest song, we need more protest songs because otherwise we could, it's so easy to feel powerless in this kind of a society where, you know, I can't imagine how powerless the victims felt and their families, but feeling powerless as an artist, you have a mobility.
I love it. I love the idea that that's one kind of privilege, I think, as a songwriter, that you can express yourself. You know, I think we tend to not express our outrage at things in Ireland. You know, we tend to be, we don't kind of own things, and we don't take responsibilities for things. Maybe not across the board, but the outrage has to be expressed. Like, so isn't it absolutely fantastic to be a musician who writes songs, who gets to do that? And especially during the COVID period, like, it was a very positive thing to come out of that stage where everybody wasn't gigging and you couldn't do what you normally do, like what you love to do. So you produced this piece and it was absolutely magnificent. It got lots of airplay, didn't it?
It was playlisted by RTE. It got onto the RTE playlist and it got played everywhere, you know.
It was brilliant.
And it's the kind of song, I know Brian Green, a friend of ours, he is a DJ with Phoenix FM and other things, but he said it's the kind of song that it doesn't just have its 2 weeks on the radio, it stays around for a long time because of what it says. You know,
absolutely. I mean, like the anniversary every year, it should be played anyway for, what date is the anniversary? You were telling me there a minute ago.
I think it was the 27th or something that we released it on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I guess it's ongoing, you know, it's ongoing what's happening with the discovery in Tuam. And I think Catherine Corliss has released a book.
She has
recently as well. And she's campaigning for the burial of those, giving those children proper burials and just respect, just the respect that everyone should be entitled to. So I guess this you know, this is ongoing. What's going to happen with the redress of the mother and baby?
Absolutely, we'll keep banging this drum. You know, I mean, the idea that they wanted to seal documents in relation to the families,
you know,
were just, you know, horrified, like everybody.
Yeah.
So, you know, we need to keep the pressure on, and we need to make sure that this never happens again. Although it is happening as we speak in the direct provision and all of those centres. They're the mother and baby homes of Tuam.
And I suppose if you think about it as well, with you know, such a cruel history with the church in Ireland. We need to question why the church is still involved in our schools.
Exactly.
And how they can still be allowed to operate in our schools and in that capacity.
Yeah.
Those are questions we need to be asking as well. Now.
Yeah, I have to say I was a bit amazed at certain things that were uncovered, as well as the Tuam baby disaster as well. And I was always kind of thinking, why are people still going to mass? Why do we still have to kind of have a reverence for a priest or whatever? I mean, if I was a priest involved in an organization that was guilty of all these crimes, I would disown them, you know, or renounce my faith or something, you know. So I wanted to ask you a bit about its development. You worked with Martin Leahy, who you're lucky to have as a neighbour, I think, Áine, is it?
Yeah, he's a brilliant musician.
He's great.
Anything he gets involved with is very successful, I think. You know, he's great for producing and that, but on this he's playing as well on the foreground. He's playing the djembe, which you informed me the last time. I think it's really lovely touch, the way it's quite minimal and yet really powerful in building. Do you think it worked out exactly? Had you both this envisioned in your mind, and did it work out as you expected?
We gave him direction at the start. So we said, like, to have it contain violence and beauty, because I think that kind of encapsulates the essence of it in some ways, you know, the beauty of the children and the innocence, and then the violence that was inflicted upon them and their families, and the awfulness afterwards, even after their deaths, the absolute disregard in which they were held, you know, just discarded, thrown away like rubbish into a tank, and a used septic tank. And so we wanted him to hold on to that idea of beauty and violence, and he said he really did. He kept that in his head the whole time. I mean, we've both worked with Martin extensively, and we had no doubt that he would produce something beautiful. But what he produced was magnificent.
I don't think we can't really have any hand in what he did.
No,
really.
God, no.
You
weren't together with him laying down his percussion or anything,
Yeah, totally. He did everything. He played every instrument. He added pedal steel and I think it's a tour de force, you know. And Christy Moore said it was.
I was going to say, Christy Moore had a word about that. Yeah, that's fantastic. Like, that says it all. Like, I think. But the thing I've noticed about you, both of you have developed relationships with DJs or radio programmers and so on. Would you say that's fair? That you're getting to know the DJs and you're communicating with them and you're doing the work that's needed?
I suppose, yeah. I suppose if you're just releasing stuff consistently, I suppose you start to get to know the DJs in that way, and they get to know you, I suppose, which is a great thing.
I think it helps that you have a massive success when they get to introduce you the first time. It's like something really powerful and phenomenal, like, in fairness, you know.
Oh yeah, I mean, Jesus, like, I've a huge fan of radio, you know, like I love radio. I've always loved radio, and hearing those voices that you've revered over the years saying your name on the air, you know,
you must be still on a high about it in a way, because
I was in relation to Little Room. Sorry, I mean, I'm not the single, you know, the program was a different thing. It just felt like its own thing, because it was such a I don't know, such an experience for us, for what it said. But just love radio, have great respect for anybody who's working in radio and who's supporting Irish artists in particular Irish female artists, actually. And just they're everybody, you know, interesting people, and you know, they're lots of things going on. Brian Greene is a great writer, and he's a socialist, and you know, Martin Bridgman is a great writer as well. He writes blogs, and they're all just really interesting people as well as DJs.
Everybody's connecting and putting their heads together too, which is good, because I have to say I would give them credit though, because I noticed over the lockdown I saw lists of people whose songs were played, like Cormac O'Queeve and the Green Shine, and loads of others, and yourselves, of course. And Áine Weekend is another massive hit, I think. I saw somewhere on Facebook at one point that it had got almost 60,000 views.
Yeah, that was the second thing I released, I think. Yeah, and yeah, it's
Fantastic song.
yeah, yeah, it was one of the first songs I wrote years and years ago. Actually, it was yourself and Jamie kind of forced me to start writing songs.
Oh yeah, just because
pulling me into it. But it was
you knew she had it, but yeah. Why do you think that is, Áine? Why did you wait? So your first song you released was Lydia, was it?
That's right. Yeah, but that wasn't the first song that I wrote. One of the first songs I wrote, I think, was Weekend.
Yeah.
We used to have our little writing sessions, and Jamie and Vickie were like, "Come on, Áine, you need to write a song.
Yeah, exactly.
Do it. All the other cool kids
It
are
was
doing
a bit like that, like.
And why do you think you weren't doing it? Why were you reluctant?
I don't know. Maybe it was a confidence thing. I would imagine that's probably it. You know, it's very hard to put yourself out there and be vulnerable. It's easy. Well, it's not easy to play other people's music. I'm not saying that it is, but you can kind of hide behind other people's music.
Yeah.
Posing to write words and your own feelings, and then that's hard enough. But then to sing it. Yeah. But they made it. It's such a. They were really encouraging. I don't think I would have done it if it hadn't been for the two.
Yeah.
Yes,
so encouraging. It was a really lovely experience, and it was very. It made me write more songs again, you know. So
it was for all of us.
Yeah.
You know,
it's kind of a support that you have for each other and respect, like, so it's lovely. But tell me, what is the ballet connection as well, Áine? Are you?
No, I did. I actually did ballet. I wasn't any good at it.
Yeah.
Sam O'Mahony, who was a brilliant, a really talented film director and photographer and filmmaker. He works a lot with the BBC. It was totally his brainchild and his ideas, and he just was like, okay, we're going to get loads of ballerinas, we're going to bring them, we're going to go up to Belfast, and it was like a little mini film. He's a real he's an unbelievable filmmaker, and he calls them films, you know. He doesn't call them music videos. He talks about films.
That much commitment. Yeah, that's great. And actually, speaking of the radio airplay and all that kind of thing, you have to talk about the #1 song. Is she really going out with him?
Oh yeah.
That's fantastic as well. Like, I mean, there's so much going on with you, but that's brilliant news. And was it last Friday?
I don't remember.
You're talking about the most played on the Irish radio. Is that what you're talking about?
Vickie's and Declan's song, Is She Really Going Out with Him, the cover of Joe Jackson.
I think it was Thursday or Friday of last year.
Yeah. It's been a whirlwind, has it?
Yeah, just because, it's been brilliant because, you know, first of all, I suppose doing a cover, because I love covers because they give you a chance to be creative within a very specified space. It's like writing and editing at the same time, because it's just great to take a different take on something and to make it your own, you know. And I feel that's what we've done with this song. It's more like a reimagining. We've been calling it a reimagining because, you know, we're you know, we love ourselves, like, you know.
It's funny how that, you know, in Ireland, saying you love yourself is a real, it's a bad thing. Or she loves herself.
She's got,
you know, another country.
That was another Catholic thing. I mean, I was in a convent. I don't know if you were in a convent in school, but even you wrote up in your blog about she's got notions, Vickie. I remember that. It struck home with many of us. Like,
that's
brilliant. Yeah. But so you're delighted with that. It was a great thing to do and a great thing to achieve as well.
It's brilliant, you know, because everything, I don't know, everything that you do is part of who you are. And I would never want to pigeonhole myself into one particular genre or one particular type of music or way of being. You know, I am a multifaceted human being like everybody else on this planet, and I want to share that. I'm not afraid of the corny parts of myself or the dark parts of myself. I want it all to be there, like a holistic view of womanhood in Irish society as we see it, as we have it now. And it's a really powerful thing to be able to, it's again the mobility as an artist. You can move through different genre and different songs and different ways of being in your life and in your artistic life, and it's wonderful. That's what freedom is to me. And I'm feeling that at 51.
Well, you're I think Little Rooms Big Music has helped you to do that big time, hasn't it?
Oh, I'll be forever grateful to
that happened,
really truly, because it's just that beautiful way of being yourself and finding a way to be myself online. I think that was the big thing, because obviously I don't adhere to any physical, we all get sucked into this idea of female perfection and how toxic that is. I don't subscribe to any of that anymore. And I am really adamant to be as much myself as I possibly can, I'm on a mission, I am going to be talking about it non-stop, because it's something that we as women have a right to express and say. We have a right to be who we are. We have a right to our bodies to be the way they are, and not to have to subscribe to somebody else's idea of what you should look like or how you should be, So Áine's looking at me going, I know. She's just
a song about it.
Yeah.
So actually, now that you said that, so is it now a compulsion to have a message for every song, or how do you feel about that now? Is there pressure on you unconsciously to have a message?
No, not at all. I'll do whatever the hell I want. That sounds so arrogant, but that's...
No, geez, not at all. It's good. It's better, because as you said, that actually is, if you did have to do that, or if you went down that road, you would be putting yourself in the box again. So I think it's great. And Áine, do you feel that, how does your songwriting process work for you? What triggers it?
Everything and anything, I don't know. I think it's I think you can be lofty about it and say that it's all, inspiration and stuff, but I think that's that you just have to show up for it. I was listening to something, a podcast, and they were saying that you have to engage in it first before you get inspired, and then you have to still do, there is kind of work. You have to check in before you can be inspired, and I guess that sometimes I get very lazy and I don't want to check in, but when I do, it's usually something happens, whether or not it's something that you want to keep. It's something will happen if you sit down and decide to write something. You'll end up with something at the end of it. Whether or not you want to keep it is another thing.
So are you in a sense always writing, like in your heads, or?
Yeah. And reading and trying to, you described it before as like being a magpie and trying to, I love that idea. Not steal.
A good idea,
inspired by writing or poems or movies that you get, you get little bursts of inspiration from somebody else's work.
Absolutely.
I remember David Bowie saying that he did loads of his writing that way, that he would hear a riff or something, and then he kind of mess with it and make it his own, and then that would be the start of something.
Yeah, very good. And actually, Vicky, you worked in theatre, didn't you? Or you still do, maybe?
I had a really short stint there with the Madrigada, but in terms of short, it actually went over a longer period. So because we had a development week in Triskel, and then time passed, and then we had 2 sold-out shows in the Stack Theatre and the School of Music with Mark Wilkins, Dominic Moore and Ruthie Lax, and it was amazing because we were, and Mark was entrusted with the writings of Mick Lynch, as you know, from Stump, by his sister Marie, and that was incredible, and I loved it, and I want to do more of it. I just loved it. It's the same but it's different, but it's the same but it's different. It's so good.
I think it would suit you, because even seeing you on Little Rooms Big Music, and also in the video of Is She Really Going Out With Him, you're extremely expressive, and you've great presence. Actually, both of you have great presence, and both of you have great style. I've said that to you before, but stunning. You should have a fashion show or something. But come here, tell me how you met.
Whoa.
In college.
Yeah, yeah.
We both went back as mature students, which I mean it's an oxymoron because what we were doing what we were
very
getting up
maturity.
to, when we went back to college wasn't mature. You wouldn't call it mature. But we had a great time, and we met
Brilliant
Jamie.
time.
Jamie, who was also a mature student. He was on the course as well, and we just had loads of fun. And we were always kind of panicking about assignments and deadlines and performances, and then we used to kind of collaborate then in that way, that we'd be all last minute trying to get our performance together, and we ended up getting a band together and doing it for UCC performance, and that's kind of how we started collaborating.
We got firsts for that, actually.
Yeah,
just putting that out there.
Wow, class, well done. And so how long ago would that have been?
I got my degree in 2010, so it was 2007 was when we
2007.
Yeah, it's brilliant that you have each other, because you're very complementary, and also you're both very strong in your own right as well. So like, are you going to continue working together? What's the plan in that sense?
Oh yeah, definitely.
And we kind of we'll continue to do our own.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll dip in and out of it.
Exactly.
It's
It's just brilliant. We both have like solo careers, but at the same time we work together so well that it would be a crime not to.
Absolutely, your voices are stunning, like together, like it's incredible. But if you write something on your own, do you feel that do you tend to look for the other's approval?
I don't know if it's approval.
I don't know. If you're excited about something you want to share,
you're excited with your friends,
and it's always such a nice space to share stuff.
Yeah, you know? It really is. We're very encouraging, and we listen to each other, and we also would say like maybe not that or whatever, but it's a space where you feel you can go, and the person is going to level up to your level of excitement, You're going, oh yeah, that sounds nice.
I think you're massive, the two of you, in fairness. So when you were growing up as kids, or like as teenagers, were you like, Áine, did you play music a lot in the family anyway? It was very musical, weren't they?
My parents were really encouraging. My mother played the piano, and my dad didn't learn any instruments, but he was a good singer, and they were just very encouraging, which is lovely. And they were encouraging to all of us. They just wanted us to do what we enjoy doing. There was never any expectation on careers or anything like that, which I guess is a really nice, I was very fortunate in that way. But they were very encouraging. Like, we had a pub, my dad bought a pub, and we used to, myself and my younger sister Kira used to do gigs in the pub, and we'd be playing, so I guess it was something I did from an early enough age. I don't think they liked what we played, but
but you were making it, you're kind of forging your path, like, so how bad is very good. And Vickie, how about yourself growing up?
Oh, well, we would have been in different decades because I'm over a decade older. My parents were amazing, but we had no money at all. And I wanted to do piano lessons, but I couldn't because we had no piano, we had no money. So they put me into elocution lessons, which was great. It was with a nun called Sister Mary Trace, and she was absolutely lovely. And I had an interest in poetry and stuff like that, the written word anyway. So that was fantastic. And I never felt like, hard done by or anything, But like, we had a radio on the shelf in the corner of the room, and I would listen to that, and you just be like, praying for stuff to come on the radio. As a kid, like 7 years of age, and my Auntie Carmel had a record player, and she'd buy singles every week because she was single herself, and she would invite us down to play on a Friday to play records. And then teenage years, OCD was in the picture, so I wasn't allowed in my head to hang posters on the walls. I had to have them under my bed, but it would have been the Doors, the Smiths, the Cure, loads of Motown. I always loved Motown, Diana Ross and Beethoven and what's his name, Mozart, a bit of Vivaldi, all those things. Lee side music, Lee records.
It's great. Nice diversity there as well. Considering COVID and lockdowns and all that, the night that you played my place, the Gig Factory, There was massive excitement. So how many gigs have you had since all this started?
Jesus.
I've had very few.
Me too.
That gig, and then I did a gig in Bandon for the culture night.
Oh, lovely, yeah.
Yeah, same. I had that gig, and then the first Fruits Art Centre, which is wonderful. That was my first solo gig ever. Bob Dylan tribute a couple of weeks back. That was the people in the room and everything. And we're both playing for the Taste of Bandon.
Oh yeah,
The Samhain.
that's right.
Yeah.
So that gig, is that where you're going to, like, so it was a pity that you don't get to have an official launch of the Poor Ground and things like that. But I suppose you're doing whatever you can do, like, but it looks like it may not be opened up again. It looks like the news is kind of getting us prepared to the fact that we won't be opened up as much as we were meant to be.
But I guess I think that I know it's been a very, I don't want to, it has been very bad for musicians, but there have been a lot of very good things for musicians. Like the whole online thing, it's been amazing for people who wouldn't normally be able to get gigs.
Yeah.
Suddenly had their own
facility, like, yeah.
You know, people were at home, and I guess because I was talking to a girl, a friend of mine, and she's disabled, and she said it was brilliant for her that she could go to gigs, you know, probably 7 nights of the week if she wanted to.
Yeah.
That I guess being in a wheelchair can be very difficult to go out and to go to gigs, and there's venues that aren't wheelchair accessible. So I think there have been very good things too.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Definitely, yeah. And I think when you can't go out, when you are locked down, we're distracted by all the places we have to go and people we have to see all the time, and then suddenly you've got time. So then I think the creative juices will start to flow. That's for sure. Like, and when you think about it, like, the Poor Ground is mighty and it'll carry anyway. But so tell me about yourselves. You both have Bandcamp. You can download songs from your Bandcamp. Yeah, is that correct?
I'm still almost there.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's available on Bandcamp under Victoria Keating.
The Bandcamp page.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it's on. Yeah, it is, and it's on Spotify.
Yeah,
it's on all the usual
YouTube
places like YouTube.
Yeah, very good. Yeah. Okay, so we'll be watching out for you. So I would like you to play a few songs if that's possible.
We would like to.
When I began to love a refuge, a dream, I lost my hold on earth when I began to love. When I began to love, a tiny spark that burns just for a little while. When I began to love, rest and speaks and your thoughts they creep, and it hurts to be, 'cause you cannot tell me. Might be found in the hopeless round, not a single sound, memory. The shadows moves around. Let go. Our little house, a sign marks our song, a sapphire
Brilliant, guys. Thank you for doing that.
This song we wrote about the menopause and kind of perimenopause and or how just hormones. Now I'm not menopausal.
Yeah, me neither.
We're not. But I do feel like hormones can just make you crazy at any age, and I think we felt that it was something that needed to be talked about more. Now I've heard lately in the last month or so there seems to be a little bit more discussion around women getting help during the menopause and just a discussion about it because
but again, that's only treating the symptoms, you know. The cause is lots of different things, like you know, women's role in society, even in 2021, the lack of proper sex education in schools, the way that there's a toxic sexuality, you know, thrust on girls from a very young age with Instagram and all of these things. And we want to talk about it. We want to, you know, engender more discussions that educating everybody in family structures and things that cause things in our bodies to go wrong, you know, around us in our environments and stuff. And it's really and
I think I was talking I just turned 40. My friends are turning 40 now, and I was at my friend's 40th recently, and we were talking about it and what it means to be 40. And it's, you know, the way, and there's this idea where people go, she looks great for 40. I know. And you're going, 40 is young, it's not old.
Exactly.
It's a thing that I don't know, that maybe it's society where, I don't know, but you're kind of you kind of start to disappear at a certain age as a woman in
your relevance is definitely
terrible when you have when you're, you know, and it should be the opposite, because you have so much more confidence and you have so much more to say and you know yourself more, that it should be the opposite.
The opposite, yeah, absolutely. Go for it. So
that's good. It's called
Belladonna.
Tonight it feels like the sky is falling, gone to ground, so right, but feel I'm rotting. Stars shatter, but the shards glitter and enthrall me. I soar high above with the stars to watch you stretch those threads that held me in your comfort, find me. Stars shatter, but the shards never unravel. Head over heels, I'm crawling. Skin that burns to the touch. Suns up and back, stay calling. I love tonight. I love tonight. My rage leaves a stain that grows ever darker. Stop the night like furies, each echo sharper. Stars shatter, but the shards mirror our heartache. Head over heels, I'm crawling. Tears that hurts to touch. Songs of the night, stay calling.
love too much. I love too much. I love too much. I love too much. I love too much.
Brilliant. Well done. That's fantastic. Another brilliant song, in fairness. I was thinking while I was watching you that you must know each other and be able to read each other's body language so well now, because you're communicating all the time in such a subtle way. It's cool.
That's lovely. Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah. Anyway, listen, thanks a million. It was brilliant to spend time with you. And as I would always say, I could keep talking to you forever.
That was fun. Nice in an hour.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to mention anything before you go?
Yeah, we will be commemorating the Poor Ground. Will be having a special gig for that. We'll have details to you before.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, and we've got a few gigs coming up which we can't say anything about, but we'll be able to tell you in good time.
Yeah, okay, no bother. Great stuff. Anyway, we'll be watching out for you, and if people want to buy the song, it's available on Bandcamp, which is great. Okay, thanks guys.
Thanks a million.
Thank you. Okay, cheers.
Thank you.